Hey guys, this is EckhartsLadder. Hello and welcome to another Star Wars The Mandalorian video. And today's content will be a little bit different. I'll probably just put some Squadrons B-roll up because we're talking about something that doesn't have a whole lot of associated footage, and that's some controversy that's sort of been plaguing The Mandalorian since before the season. And I mean The Mandalorian as both a show and a character. Now, if you want more details about the people involved, you've got to find another video. Generally on my YouTube channel, except in exceptional circumstances, I don't like to direct the attention of my viewers towards a single person. I think I can tell the story without spreading or contributing to hate, because it's really easy for bullying and whatever else to start online, and I just don't want to be a part of that. So let's start from the very beginning. And the very beginning is that Star Wars has always been controversial. There are always people that are unhappy with the current direction of Star Wars, and there are always people who will be making news that appeals to those people, whether it's true or not. And to be clear, I'm not saying that any of the news we'll be discussing about today, or the so-called leaks, was purposefully meant to be disinformation or was made specifically to appeal to a certain group of people, but the fact is there was some Mandalorian news before the season began hinting that there might be controversy and a decline in quality in the second season of the show, which obviously never manifested. Alright, so the initial rumor started in September, where a Twitter user, a well-known Twitter user, said, "Mandalorian Season 2 trailer update, here's the latest information. Disney didn't like the trailer and delayed it to be re-edited." But that's not all. They also have problems with the season overall. Reshoots, but I hear a big problem, no details on that just yet, looking into it. And you may remember, but the trailers for The Mandalorian Season 2 actually came fairly late. There wasn't a lot of lead up to the show. I think that ended up working out pretty well for The Mandalorian, because the hype generated by each episode was pretty much enough, and by only showing a little bit in the trailers, they've kept, especially the second half of the season, a complete surprise to viewers, which often isn't the case. The Mandalorian has been very rare in that there's only really been one major leak this season, and that was the entire contents of the Ahsoka episode. Moving on, the person continued saying, "Well, I kind of do know what the problem is, but to reveal it would expose my source." And she continues saying that she wouldn't be surprised if The Mandalorian has a significant shift, say, halfway through season 2. And yeah, obviously that was pretty vague. That got a lot of Star Wars fans worried. Some people who were hoping for The Mandalorian not to do well latched onto that. But I will note this individual was the only person saying this. Now, that doesn't at all mean that they were wrong, but others like Jordan Mason, a friend of mine, was saying that they hadn't heard of any discontent on the set or any major issues, and it turns out that this apparent major controversy was over Din Djarin wearing his helmet, with Pedro Pascal apparently wanting more time out of helmet, because I guess that's something an actor would want, more of their face on screen. There is some believability to this. I think a lot of people downplayed Pedro's contribution to season 1 with just saying, oh, well, stunt people were in the suit most of the time and he wasn't even talking that much, and I don't really think that's fair. Pedro is in the suit a lot and he contributes through body movement. I think, and this is spoiler alert for the last episode, to give you guys a second to click away, that we saw what he can do when he's out of helmet, because he mirrored a lot of the Mandalorian's facial movements and the way he would look at things with his entire face instead of his somewhat limited peripheral vision, I guess. But there was a lot of nuance there. That doesn't mean that the rumor couldn't be correct, but personally, when this was said, I did find it hard to believe that Pedro would really have that big of a problem. But the individual actually went a little bit further, and when they were referring to an issue halfway through the season, said specifically that Pedro Pascal either quit or seriously threatened to quit over this topic. I think the most definitive statement she made on the topic, and I don't want to say this for sure because I could be mistaken, was in a video where she said straight up that Pedro Pascal left The Mandalorian halfway through filming season 2. Again, all due to a falling out because of The Mandalorian's helmet time. And people picked up on this because the individual, again, I don't want to name because I don't want to be a part of that bullying or whatever else, has had some reliable scoops in the past. She's a pretty big personality on YouTube and Twitter and is just in a lot of fandom communities. I personally think her credibility took a big hit with the quality of season 2. There's been no evidence whatsoever that they've had to film around Pedro Pascal. He's been featured very prominently in the season. I mean, especially lately where Grogu has been out of commission. So I think the base speculation there from the very beginning that season 2 didn't have a trailer because it wasn't turning out well just turned out to be false. And personally, I've got no reason to believe that the helmet thing will go any different. Now, the individual has continued her story. She said on the 11th, which was after the recent episode where Din took his helmet off, that she'll never retract her Pedro Pascal story because it's true. I'm glad behind the scenes drama hasn't affected season 2 so far. Kudos to Favreau and Filoni for protecting it. However, she kind of steps back by saying, they didn't announce the Boba Fett show yesterday even though it's filming. Is he the star of Mando Season 3? Continuing by saying, I've proven myself with my sources many times, including just yesterday. My job is to keep you in the loop. I genuinely hope everything was or will be worked out with Pascal. He's fabulous on The Mandalorian. He deserves that success and plenty more. So she's sticking by her story, and I've got to give her some credit for that because evidence does seem to be pointing the other way. There does not seem to be major strife on the set of The Mandalorian, and I think the only way this turns around is if Din Djarin dies next episode, if Boba Fett really does take over for Season 3. Personally, I don't think that's very likely. I think next episode will be about Baby Yoda and The Mandalorian coming back together. The Mandalorian is a really well-loved character. I don't think that the show has told the entire story it can between the sort of father and son relationship that we've seen created here, or at least I hope not. I personally would be very, very disappointed if he did die, probably nearly to the point of not wanting to watch Season 3. But anyway, the man himself, the center of attention for the story, actually weighed in recently. He stated, no, there's always been a central vision to the show that he's totally been on board with. Everyone has just wanted to make the best show possible for The Mandalorian, and The Mandalorian leaving his helmet on, this creed, is a major component of his character and one that he doesn't have a problem with. And I've got to say, he comes off as sounding very, very genuine, although I guess he is an actor to be fair. There's also a recent interview where Pascal said that The Mandalorian has to be a part of the upcoming Star Wars titles outside of his own, Rangers of the New Republic and Ahsoka. He says, man, fingers crossed, how could you not? This is something that's so much bigger than all of us, and we're all a passenger to this in a great way. I don't know, it's hard to say, but I definitively come down on the side of not believing this. The individual has stuck to her story, which again I give her credit for, but I don't think there's been any evidence whatsoever confirming the way that she's explained things, and if anything, there's a mountain of evidence pointing the other way. The fact that The Mandalorian Season 2 has been very good, and the trailers, if anything, were minimalist in order to hide the major surprises coming up, and the fact that Pedro Pascal just seems so on board with everything. And I want to talk about that minimalism for just a second, because I did mention it in reference to leaks and trailers, but you've got to think how many major things were in this season that weren't spoiled beforehand, at least not confirmed. There were rumors of an Ahsoka casting, there were rumors that other characters would show up, but we certainly didn't know specifics. We didn't know which episodes they'd be in other than Ahsoka, and that was pretty much guaranteed based on the fact that Dave Filoni was directing anyway. So when I look at the way the trailers were shot and released, that's what I think of. But guys, that's all I have for today. Let me know your thoughts on this issue. Again, I just want to reiterate, please don't go harass anyone over this. It's a television show, although I disagree with this, and I do feel really bad for what Pedro Pascal has had to go through. It's pretty clear he's been hearing these rumors for some time, and I've seen people hurling some abuse his way. Just leave it be. If it's nonsense, it's nonsense. If it's not, it doesn't matter anyway. But until next time, guys, have a good one, be safe, and as always, may the Force be with you.